Hello, today is Friday, October 18th, and this is your Game Over Ottawa Daily News. Unfortunately, the Sens just lost 3-1 to the New Jersey Devils, in which I was actually part of the post-game podcast. So if you want to, you can go see my reaction to the game quite fresh after the game there. And when it comes to a rest and thinking over the game over a little bit of time, I think it's safe to say that our reaction to the game was pretty set with what my expectations of it were. And thankfully, it wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been with the goaltending issues we had against the Kings and with the changes we had on defense. It was a pretty lackluster game. Effectively, the top six were relatively invisible for most of the game, aside from scoring a late power play goal. But the defense was pretty solid. In fact, even Anton Forsberg bounced back from a poor start against the Kings for a pretty overall good game against the Devils. Though it was mostly the offense that struggled in the game against the Devils. The Devils had better chances and capitalized off of mistakes, where the Sens hit 4 posts and got overall unlucky, though it did look like their play on 5-on-5 was good, which is a continuing trend over these past 4 games, and something they hope to bring forward to the Lightning game. Speaking of the Lightning game, it's actually going to be the Sens' second matinee game of the season. As you can see up there on the board, the game against the Lightning is tomorrow at 1 p.m. EST. So make sure that if you're a late riser like I am, the game might have started already by the time you've woken up. So just make sure to keep an eye out for that, because the Lightning are going to be a very formidable opponent, and we really don't want the Sens to go into a negative record early in the season. It's not going to be a death knell to the team. Obviously, 2-3 is still something very manageable, but obviously you'd rather be 3-2. As for the lines in today's practice, as of TSN 1200, we have a couple surprises. First off, Chabot, Zub, Greg, and Pinto are all taking time off for this practice. Zub and Greg for injury, Chabot and Pinto for maintenance. Nothing too serious, all stuff we sort of knew already. But we do have some surprises in the practice lines. Most of it is relatively set. We have Kachuk Stützle and Amadio on the first line, Gregor, Daniel Alfredsson, and David Perron on the second line, Giroux, Norris, and Batherson on the third, and Cousins, Gaudette, and McEwen on the fourth, with Sanderson and Hamonic on the first pair of defense, Chabot's off, so it was just Jensen on his own, and then Clevin and JBD still sticking together on the third line. And as of today, we haven't fully found out who's starting. In fact, Travis Green did already talk to the media. Talking to TSM 1200, Travis Green talked about how Ullmark had a good practice today, but the full availability of him from tomorrow onwards will be decided tomorrow. So we're still not fully aware whether Ullmark will start tomorrow, or it's just going to be something where we'll have to wait till the next game. And honestly, off of Anton Forsberg's previous performance, I understand if you want to give him another go, though it is a pretty short break in between the Thursday game and a midday Saturday game. So I would lean towards Ullmark if he is available. Now, another quote that he mentioned was how much he liked JBD's play, which I think most fans of the game could agree with. He was pretty solid on the bottom pair with Clevin that game, especially with how noticeable the third pair was when it was Clevin and Hamonic. The third pair was unnoticeable in their game against the Devils, which is good. And Travis Green said so as well, just saying that he liked JBD's game because of how calm he was. And when it comes to line changes, that was something that we also brought up. We might have to start seeing some changes in the top six because of how invisible they've been in some recent games, aside from the Kings game. And Green himself said he's trying to stay patient with the lines and see what works, but he wouldn't be adverse to making changes tomorrow if they seem to continue to have a slow start or if things aren't working as they should. Kachuk also spoke to the media, and also via TSN 1200. They mentioned how it'd be nice how they won't have too much time to think on the previous game moving on to this one, because it's only been a one-day break, and it's an earlier game than normal on Saturday. And I think that's good for the Sens, especially their top six. Just try and, the past is the past, and improve yourselves for the next game. Now, yes, you did hear correctly what I said earlier. Daniel Alfredsson actually did skate with the forwards in the forward group, but no, it's not it's not Dave Stieb returning to the Blue Jays. It's very much Daniel Alfredsson's just filling in for Pinto because he wasn't able to practice that day for maintenance. But I think it is pretty funny, and such a show of how different this regime is, seeing Alfredsson not only coaching the team, but actually practicing with the team. It's great to see. And even though it isn't Alfredsson's banner that I have up here, just know that just like any other fan, Alfie is obviously one of the most well-loved players in the history of the Ottawa Senators. So seeing him on the ice in 2024, it's kind of a surreal feeling. And it's great to see. And as of the Devils game, thankfully, there were no more severe injuries for the team. So the injuries that I have listed here are all basically staying the same. Rudy Greg's still out for a week. Zub is still out for at least a week. Allmark is still day-to-day, unknown when he's going to fully return. But thankfully, Shabbat's fine, and every other player in the roster remains okay. And as of Friday, that'll be all for your daily news for your Game Over Ottawa Senators. I'm Michael Czar. And let's see the Sens have a good weekend this time around.